Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I am an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make these videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you'd like to know more about my knitwear designs, please check in the description below, and there you will find a link to my Ravelry profile where you can browse through all of the patterns I have available and possibly get one to knit up yourself. If you do decide to knit one of my patterns, I would absolutely love to hear about it. You can either chat with me in the comments below, or also in the description you will find a link to the Watch Barbara Knits Facebook group. It is a closed Facebook group, so you can request to join and I'll add you, and there we can talk and chat about knitting, and you can show off stuff you've made and we can have tons of fun. For today's video, I am trying something a little bit different. I was looking through my YouTube channel information and found that one of my most viewed videos is the one where I'm showing off different crescent shaped shawls. And crescent shaped shawls are like my favorite shawl shape because they are so incredibly easy to wear. They stay on your body. I will link to that video so you can take a look at it. And what I decided to do is there are many different ways to make crescent shaped shawls, but I decided I could, in a video, walk you through the steps you need to do to make a very basic crescent shaped shawl. I thought it would be fun, see how much information I can convey in a small amount of time. So what I have for you is a free pattern. It is a step-by-step set of instructions on how to make this crescent shaped shawl. Now I'm assuming you already know how to knit and purl. You're going to have to cast on and bind off. I didn't show the bind off. You're going to want to use something stretchy, and but I made, and so this is, isn't it cute? This is a little tiny crescent shaped shawl that I made using the instructions that I'm getting ready to give you. This is, see how cute it is? It's so adorable. And I can make this little tiny shawl in like maybe a half an hour if you mess up a lot, which I don't think you will because it's super easy. And then you can use the same instructions I give you to continue and make a full shaped shawl. So we are going to switch from talking head to you guys just watching my hands right now. First, we have to cast on stitches. And I'm going to show a long tail cast on because it's super easy and a lot of people know it. But you can use your preferred cast on as long as it is stable, which means I wouldn't recommend a knitted cast on or a backwards loop cast on. It needs to be something that is going to hold up. So step one for a long tail cast on is to make a slip knot, which you wrap the yarn around your finger, pull it away, reach through, grab that, and there you have your standard slip knot. You need to leave a decent length tail. You want your about 6 inches to weave in. And the way I figure that out is my finger span is about 6 inches. And then you need a little bit more for your 7 stitches. Take your needle, put it through, put it through your slip knot. And that one is twisted, so I will put it there. And then you tighten your slip knot down. And you can see your working yarn that goes to the ball is over your finger, and your tail is going to be over your thumb. You put that like that, stick your thumb in. This is not a cast on video, so I'm just going to show it to you, but you have one, this counts as one, and then you under, 2, 3. How this is done is you bring it in slingshot position, pick up this bottom strand from the bottom underneath like that, rock it forward, and then wrap this around clockwise and pull it through this loop. That's 4. Oh, I messed it up. So again, working yarn over your finger, tail over your thumb, hold it with your fingers, pick up your bottom loop, wrap the top strand, and pull it through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your cast on is ready. Now, as usual, you flip your needles and position yourself to knit. I am a continental knitter, so I tension my yarn over my left hand. Now, the first row is knit 2, knit 1, gotta hang on to that guy, knit 2, and then into the next stitch you want to knit, yarn over, knit. So you knit into the stitch, yarn over, and I use my finger here to make sure that yarn over stays on my needle, and then knit into that same stitch again. That is the fanciest thing in this entire pattern. So you knit, yarn over, knit into the next stitch, then you do another knit, yarn over, knit. So knit, yarn over, knit. I was trapping those stitches on my thumb to make sure they didn't slip off, and then we knit 2. So you have finished row 1. Oh, or you didn't, and you need to redo that. There we go. There's row 1. Again, row 1 is knit 2, knit, yarn over, knit, knit 1, knit, yarn over, knit, knit 2. So we originally had 7 stitches. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Turn it over. For the wrong side row, that was the right side row, we are going to knit 2, knit 1, knit 2, yarn over. Okay? That's the easiest way to do it. I will show a variant that will give you a nicer edge, which is to slip this first stitch with the yarn held in front. So you move your yarn to front, slip that stitch, tighten it down, and then knit. So your options here are knit 2 or slip 1 with yarn in front, knit 1. Whatever you do, you're working 2 stitches, then you yarn over, and then you simply knit 2, 2, until you are 2 stitches from the end of your row. Now, we're going to yarn over and knit, work these last 2 stitches. If you knit 2 to begin with, you're going to knit 2 here. But if you're working a slip stitch edge, you're going to move your yarn to front and slip that last stitch. Now, we've added 2 stitches. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we went 7, 11, 13. The structure of this crescent shaped shawl is that you increase 4 stitches every right side row and 2 stitches every wrong side row. Now, that was rows 1 and 2. Now we have rows 3 and 4, which are simply a repeat. So we're going to knit 1, knit 2, and now the stitch we're going to knit, yarn over, knit into is the yarn over from the previous row. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, I lost it, into that stitch. There we go. And then we're going to knit across. My needles are being a little slippery. Knit. And you don't need to know how many you're knitting, you just knit across until you get to your yarn over, which is the third to last stitch. And again, you knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 into that stitch, and knit the last 2. Oop, there we go. Now, you can see it's starting to curve just a wee bit. right? And let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's how many we had before. 14, 15, 16, 17. So we've added 4. Now, we're going to flip it over. And for row 4, either, remember, you do the same thing you did on the previous row. Either you're going to knit these first two stitches, or to work a slip stitch edge, you're going to move your yarn to front, slip that stitch, tighten it down, knit 1, yarn over, knit to your last 2 stitches, Ooh, almost there. There we go. Last 2 stitches, yarn over, knit 1, move your yarn to front, and slip that stitch. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and there's 2 more, 18, 19. So that's rows 1 through 4. Excuse me. Now we're going to do, get out of the way, cable. Do your cables ever do that to you? Very annoying. Now we want to knit row 5. We're on the right side row. Your yarn needs to be behind here. So we're going to, again, knit 2. Then knit, yarn over, knit into the next stitch, and knit all the way across this row. Remember, we don't have to count. We just got to keep going until we see that yarn over pop up on our left-hand needle. There he is. So knit, yarn over, knit into that stitch. And you see I got a whole lot of assist finger going on there. So don't be afraid to pin those stitches where they need to go. Then knit 2. At this point, let's line them up. One thing I recommend you doing, because we're working a garter-esque type thing, sometimes it's difficult to be able to tell the front from the back, right side from wrong side. So take one of these little locking stitch markers and attach it to the front of your work. So that way you know this is the right side. We're going to flip it over for row 6, which is actually pretty much the last row of our pattern, if our cable cooperates. So, again, move the yarn to the front, slip that first stitch, tighten it down, knit 1, yarn over, and then we're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, all the way across to the last 2 stitches. Now you'll notice that I'm doing a plain old continental purl because I want to keep it slow for you guys. I normally do a Norwegian purl, and if you're interested in that, I have a video on that you can check out. But as for now, we're just knit 1, purl 1 all the way across until knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. We have our last 2 stitches, yarn over, knit 1, slip 1 with yarn in front. And that, my dear knitters, is the entire pattern. It is a 6-row pattern where you're increasing 4 stitches every right side, 2 stitches every wrong side, and that is what makes a crescent shapes, one of the ways you can make a crescent shaped shawl. This is obviously only 6 rows, so you can't really tell, but let me show you. Here we go. This is a little tiny mini version. This is, I've done actually 3 repeats, 6, 12, 18. So this is 18 rows. So after you get your yarn, after you've knit to the point where you've almost used up your yarn, or you've made the piece as big as you want, you can keep on adding skeins. Then you need to leave enough yarn, and then you just bind off and block it, and you are good to go. So that is a very simple pattern and a simple structure on how to make a crescent shaped shawl. There you go. It's only 6 rows. That's all you need. Cast on 6 rows. Repeat those 6 rows until you are almost out of yarn. Bind off. You're going to want to use a stretchy bind off. If you would like me to make a video of my favorite stretchy bind off, which is the expandable lace bind off, just let me know in the comments and I can do that to follow this video up. But I wanted to keep the instructions as short as possible so that you could make yourself a crescent shaped shawl. If you do, I would love to hear about it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, check that like button, and if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.